Super excited to have Javon Edmonds back on the Ostrom Avenue podcast of Syracuse.com. Javon, thanks so much for taking the time this morning. Syracuse is getting ready to take on Colgate Friday night. How do you think the Orange are feeling ahead of this one?
Uh, I don't think the coaching staff is completely satisfied with what it's seen,
Hmm.
um, and the players aren't either. Uh, I think this becomes one of the more important FCS games that I've seen. Like it should be a blowout,
Yeah,
but if it's not, then tough times are ahead. Like this is the only guaranteed win
yeah,
on that daunting schedule before you get into conference play. Uh, you can't struggle in this game because then you'll have zero confidence for Clemson, and no one likes playing in Death Valley.
yeah.
Uh, you've got to show that you've cleaned up your slow starts in this game. You've got to show that your offensive line is capable of blocking somebody, and you got to show that your defense can stop somebody's rushing attack, or else it's tough times ahead. Shockingly big game Friday night. And I mean, Fitzpatrick is from the area.
Yeah.
He's going to want to win against his favorite program. So good luck.
Yeah, and of course, he also could have had an opportunity to be a part of this program. Fran
Yeah.
Brown told us earlier in the week that he had a chance to be on that side of that side of the sideline. You said this was the one guaranteed win in the schedule. I think some people would have said UConn as well should have been a guaranteed win. It didn't turn out that way. Syracuse needed overtime. Were you surprised that that game was so close and how slow the Orange started?
No, because I had UConn covering the spread and that missed
Mm,
by 1 point.
yeah.
Like I knew that was going to be a close game.
Hmm.
Jim Moore is just a very good coach who has done remarkable things with that program. I was telling Brent X after the game on our podcast, like when I
Hmm.
was covering Temple, UConn was still in the American,
That's
and that
right. Yeah.
program was headed nowhere fast. I'm talking. If there were two programs I remember saying you want your program to be the complete opposite of,
Oh
it
yeah.
was UConn and South Florida.
Yeah.
And to see where both of those programs are right now,
Yeah.
it's a real testament to both of those coaching staffs. So I knew it would be close. Uh, there is a real thing in the Northeast of trying to revive the football up here and show everyone it's not just Pitt between Jim Mora at UConn and Bill O'Brien at Boston College, Fran at Syracuse, Narduzzi at Pitt, Shiano at Rutgers. We were talking before the podcast. KC Keeler at Temple now.
Yep.
Like, and those guys are taking it seriously. And when Delaware finds its footing in FBS, they'll be trying to join that fray. So, no, I knew it was going to be close. And I expect for a few years to come, anytime you hear any combination of those schools in a game, it's going to be a dogfight because they're fighting for recruits. When they play each other, those are going to be some of their biggest, recruiting weekends, in terms of visits and flips and all that good jazz. Like, hey, no, come play for me and not that school. You'll still
Yeah.
be close to home.
Yeah, and of course Syracuse they have Penn State on the schedule in a few years' time as well.
Yeah.
So that's another one they could. That's of course the big one in this area that they could try and tap into as well. And just staying on that UConn game, me and Griffin were talking about it this morning. It's been the talk kind of all week after some more public words came out. The sprints afterwards. What did you make of it? Is it a big deal? Is it whatever? Have you ever seen something like that before?
I don't think I've seen it in college, no.
Yeah,
But it's not for me, it's not some off-base thing. I played basketball for some real tough coaches.
yeah,
My brother played football for some characters, I'll say. Like, no, you don't accept anything in a win that you wouldn't accept in a loss. So I've got no problem with that. For those calling it performative, maybe a little bit, but I've always been an advocate. Like I've always told my friends, if I ever got into coaching, high school basketball or something, I would do that. Like
hmm,
you guys played like crap today. No, don't take your shoes off. Don't go to the
yeah,
locker room. Go get on that baseline.
yeah,
Now if y'all prefer for everyone to leave the gym first, that's fine. I
yeah.
can understand that gripe. But got no problem with it. That is how you establish a winning culture. You do not accept anything in a win that you wouldn't in a loss. And Fran told them, if I don't like how this game looks, y'all are running. And he stuck to his word. So I didn't really have an issue with it.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh wow, he's doing that." But then I thought the person that Fran Brown is and the standards that he has brought to this program, I thought I'm like, this isn't as surprising as I thought it initially was. It'll be interesting to see, what happens after this Colgate game, depending on the results. See what happens. The next big thing we have to talk about is the quarterback situation. I thought Fran Brown's comments after the game, him saying he's married to Angeli, was probably the most Fran Brown quote you'll ever hear. Very prototypical Brown and how he speaks. Have you been impressed with what you've seen from Angeli? And it's been two very different style of games in Tennessee and UConn. Are you glad that Fran is sticking with him, or should there be more concern there?
I came into the season thinking Steve Angeli's completion percentage would be significantly higher than it is,
Yeah.
but his offensive line's kind of thrown a wrench in those plans.
Hmm.
Uh, Fran said once he picks a quarterback, that's who he's sticking with.
Yep.
So I'm not shocked by any of this. I know my colleague Brent X was calling for Ricky Collins in the press box on Saturday. Uh, but Steve went down, led the comeback. It's his team. He won the job. He's the starter. Simple and plain.
Yep.
Should Ricky play tonight? Absolutely.
Yeah.
This game should go in a way that you get down to your backups.
Yeah. You
In
get
a
the
perfect world, this game goes to getting down to your third string.
yeah.
But you've got to take care of business to get to that point. But no, I'm not shocked. I think the way you handle this is whenever the game is out of reach, is when you put Ricky in, whether you're blowing the opponent out or the opponent is blowing you out. Say Clemson goes up 30, put Ricky in. Now, should Clemson go up 30 on you is the real question. I watched them go down 16 nothing to Troy last
Yeah.
week. I was a guy who had Clemson very high in my preseason poll. I thought they were a national championship contender. I have come off of that bandwagon pretty early. But yeah, no, it is Steve's job. He's the starting quarterback, so he should be the one taking the snaps from Austin Collins.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think especially if you do a switch, especially so early in the season, I think then it really rattles Angeli's confidence. And then if Ricky, let's say, isn't really ready, then it could even cause a more issues than you really want. Yeah, a player that I've been really impressed with, heading to the skill positions is Dan Villari. I think it's clear that last season he wasn't healthy. Now that you have a healthy Villari, I think he's brought a lot to this group. Were you as impressed as I am with how he's played in these first two games?
Yeah, so let's think about it from my perspective, right? I'm an outsider coming up here,
Yeah.
and what I know about Syracuse's team last year is Kyle McCord,
Yep.
LaQuinn Allen, Aronde Gaston, and the receivers. Don't know who Dan Villari is. Get up here, and I'm just told, oh, hey, listen, dude stunk. If that's their starting tight end, they're in trouble. Boom, boom, boom. Then I hear Dan talk about how he just was not healthy last year, and I'm seeing his shoulder wrapped up and everything. I'm
Mm.
like, all right, well, it's kind of hard for a pass catcher to be good
With a
with
bad
a bum
shoulder.
shoulder, right? And now he's out here playing ball. So this is why you like I didn't subscribe to the preconceived notions, and this is why you don't, because you get your own context to some stuff. So I'm happy for the guy. He had a lot to prove, and so far he is proving it. And Fran spent all spring and summer telling us we are just fine with Dan Villari as our quarterback. And he was right about it, that they are doing perfectly fine. You just went for 100 yards last game.
Yep.
The guy can play some football.
No doubt about it. And even before that, before he was hurt, he showed he could play football at all kinds of positions and in all kind of roles. Elsewhere in that receiving core, I think it's been a bit of a mixed bag between Daryl Gill, Justice Ross Simmons, Jonte Cook. We've seen a little bit of. Is there someone you think that is ready to really lead the pack, or is it going to be by committee?
I think JRS has shown this is his unit.
Hmm.
I mean, against Tennessee, he had some big yard catches and some pass interference calls
He had a
that
few of
really
them.
kept
Yeah.
Syracuse in it. And then last week, I mean, he won Syracuse the game.
Yeah.
This is his position group. Jonte Cook, when he gets back to 100%. He'll go back to being explosive. Um, Tyshawn Russell has been a surprise. Daryl Gill, real quiet week one, came to life last week. So I'm thinking he'll probably start to pick things up. I mean, I think the story tonight though is allegedly we're supposed to see
Yep.
Demetrius Hangel
Yep.
run some routes. Apparently he's learned his playbook now and
Yep.
he's ready to go. Let's see.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. That will definitely bring a roar from the crowd when he runs out there on offense. We've seen him plenty on the
Yeah.
defensive side, but that'll be interesting. Before I flip to that defensive side, I want to hit on the running backs. No Yasin Willis tonight, injury. That means we'll probably get a lot of Will Nixon. I mean, Willis was excellent against Tennessee. I'm not sure if he got hurt against UConn. We didn't see him a whole lot. His usage rate went down. But it does feel like Syracuse can really lean on these backs, especially once that tough schedule goes, that they could maybe, really develop a good running game.
Yeah, I said it before the season. If your goal was to get bigger and stronger up front, then you need to use that to help your linemen in the sense of run the football. That helps your linemen. They're bigger than everybody, like you're saying. They're stronger than everybody. Let them go beat everyone up. And that comes through running the ball and going downhill. And I said when you got a guy like Steve Angeli who's had a reputation of being more of a game manager, which by the way, folks, is not a bad label
No, no,
whatsoever. I tend to subscribe to the thought that Tom Brady was an elite game manager.
no.
Peyton Manning was an elite game manager. Like not everyone's going to be scramble, scramble Patrick Mahomes. You see how that's going for Caleb Williams right now.
Exactly.
So hold your horses before you come at me with them. Like with him being a game manager, that should help him. We can get on the center and run an actual offense and, get into some play action. Someone flipped that a couple weeks ago into me saying Syracuse shouldn't pass the ball at all. I don't know where the hell they got that from. Um, but no, so I think when you've got big bodies up front and a dynamic running back room, you know, I'm interested to see how they look without Usain Willis because that's the bruiser. Now it's just all speed with Will
Mhm.
Nixon and Malachi James and Malachi Coleman, unless Jaden Hart shows me something else,
Yeah.
right? Because last week I talked to Yasin after the game. He's like, man, he needed Will because they were stacking the box and Yasin couldn't get anything going. He needed Will's speed to kind of open some things up and wear those guys down a little bit before he could come in and do his thing. So without the thunder element of the thunder and lightning combo tonight, it's interesting. I'm interested to see what these guys can do.
I like that. Thunder and lightning. That's a good way to describe the two backs there. Are you surprised at how poor the offensive line has looked? I think for me at Tennessee, it was just a matter of bigger, faster, stronger, especially at the line. But even against UConn, they got exposed pretty well.
I didn't think it looked this bad.
Mhm.
Uh, it kept telling us they had 8 guys that they could play,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, they're big enough. I think this might be a unit that can do that. I'm told Dale Williams is one of the best O-line coaches, so I'm buying into it. Travion Mack has some experience. TJ Ferguson had a good year down the stretch at Florida State. The healthier he got, the better he got. Um, Austin Collins came in and there was no competition at center, to be honest with you. So that's supposed to mean something good about him. Uh, you know, Demetrius Weatherspoon was a returning guy they were big on. Joe Cruz, returning guy. Byron Washington's big as I don't know what. Kept hearing good things about Josh Miller. Cam Pringle was a versatile guy. So I'm like, no, I thought they were going to be a decent unit. And so far, it's been tough sledding. So I don't know if it's development or tapping back into the portal next season, but there's work to do in the trenches on both sides.
Hmm. Yeah, and then you mentioned defensively, haven't really seen a game yet. Maybe it is tonight against Colgate where they get to the quarterback. I don't even know if they get to Fagnano on last week, and I don't really recall of any big
One
sack.
sack.
Well, yeah, just one. So that's definitely an area you think defensively they need to step in and pressuring the quarterback.
Absolutely. You brought David Reese in for that.
Hmm.
2 games, no sacks. You moved David Omperiola down to the edge rush, down to the defensive end from linebacker. no sacks. Um, Kevin Jody, who was outside, moved in, has your only sack of the season through 2 weeks. That's an issue. And they did some blitzing against Tennessee. Still didn't sack Aguilar. So clearly, it is still a problem. And the only way you can fix a lack of talent in the pass rush is through scheming. So Nick Williams and Elijah Robinson are going to have to go to the chalkboard and draw some things up. Uh, Whether that be through some simulated pressures, some twists and some stunts. They've got to figure it out. You just cannot let guys have all day back there. When you've got true freshman 17-year-old Demetrius Samuel out there mashed up with number ones. It's going to
Certainly.
be tough sledding.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then no Devin Grant again tonight against Colgate. That's certainly been a miss. I think it's put a much more of a load on the likes of a Deuce Chestnut as well. So will Devin Grant be back come ACC play? Have you heard anything from his health standpoint?
Friends hoping for it, but I don't think they need to rush him back. Cornell Perry's actually played pretty good.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm a fan of Cornell Perry. I think they can do without Devin. Like, obviously, you wish
Yeah,
him, good health and all that, but I don't think they need him. I think Cornell Perry is possibly a better option. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw from Devin Grant last season
hmm
or against Tennessee. One game, but I liked what I saw from Cornell Perry against UConn. Um, so I don't know if they really need him back. I really don't.
And then another big interesting note, we've touched on it a little bit defensively. Demetrius Samuel, I kind of felt bad for him in Tennessee. Really got exposed there. It's quite a test. Your first collegiate game, you're 17 years old going up against SEC opponent like Tennessee. I think he settled in more nicely at UConn. Every time he's on the field, I still have to think to myself, he's only 17, and the mistakes or the beat coverages or maybe a penalty here and there, it's understandable, right?
Yeah, he's going to be better off for it.
Yeah.
You, you came in at the age of 16, your first game's at the age of 17,
Hmm.
no red shirt, you're starting every week,
Right in the
and
fire.
Fran has you lining up against the best receivers on the opposed team. He was lining up with Chris Brazell. He was lining up with Chris Bell. He's going to line up with the Division I leader in receiving yards tonight.
Yeah,
If this doesn't make him better, I would be shocked. Like he's going to have such a jump next season.
certainly.
By the time he's a junior,
Hmm.
it's going to be real tough to run around on Demetrius Samuel. So I think this is great long-term development on Fran Brown's part. I really do. So anything that happens to Demetrius this year, I'm not worried about. This is all going to make him better.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's certainly a way to grow up in college football and make him,
Yeah.
maybe one of the best players in the ACC down the line. Last question with the units here. Got to ask about it. Trip Woody, what's the deal? He's not taking a lot of field goals. Is it a matter that Fran just wants to go for it on fourth down? Is that like an analytical thing? Or are you like worried that maybe, Trip can't really hit those long field goals?
Fran saying it's a case-by-case thing.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the kickers be particularly good for 2 seasons now.
I know at camp you said they weren't looking great either.
They weren't great. We actually didn't see much of them, so
Yeah.
that's a sign within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime it's fourth and manageable and plus territory, I expect Fran to go for it this year.
Mhm.
I mean, and that's just becoming the way of the world, right? Like,
Really is.
why not?
Yep.
So until they get that real solid, sturdy, until they get their Jack Stonehouse of the kicking room,
Yeah.
they're going to be aggressive. It's not even going to be an analytics thing. It's going to be the hell with it. We might as well go for it.
Yeah. It didn't pan out too well against UConn last week. We'll see how it looks tonight against.
The play calling has to be better in those
Yes.
situations. I
Mhm.
don't need to see the Dan Villari sneak anymore.
No.
I'm cool on that.
Yeah. Certainly. Yeah. It's almost like it's trying a little too much like Dan Campbell Lions-esque, trying to get maybe a little too cute on those
Yeah.
fourth downs. Maybe just keep it simple and get that first down. In terms of Colgate, everyone's looking at this game as a look over, as a blow by. Is there any interesting part of Colgate that they could make this game interesting, or is it just a matter of Syracuse getting out to a fast start, something that they simply did not do against UConn?
They've got an offense that gives you some different looks,
Hmm.
to say the least. And like I said, the country's leader in receiving yards.
Yeah.
If they can scheme that guy open, it can be a longer night than anticipated for Syracuse. It's not like, I mean, it's if that O line holds up, then they can compete somewhat on the offensive end. So I think this whole game for Colgate comes to, do they keep the quarterback clean? Simple and plain.
It would certainly be interesting what happens tonight, and then looking into your magic ball, looking ahead to the future. Has your perspective changed once conference play comes around? I know it's still so young into the season that maybe Syracuse can do better, or is it more of a fight for bowl eligibility this year?
I think Clemson's a tough task.
Yeah.
I don't think Duke is easy, although I did not see Illinois doing that to them last week.
No. Yeah, SMU hasn't looked great either.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they blew that lead against Baylor last
Yeah.
week. But I think SMU's offense is no problem.
No.
Defense has to be more than Isaiah Wachovia, though.
Mhm.
Boston College, they had a great game against Michigan State last week, but they're beatable. I don't think Miami or Notre Dame is even a dream for Syracuse right now, to be honest with you. Uh, in Pitt, last year before Eli Holston got hurt, that looked like the team headed straight towards Charlotte.
Yeah, and they gave it to Syracuse too.
Gave it to Syracuse. So the Panthers stay healthy. That's not a team you want to see either. So this is going to be a fight for bowl eligibility. I think I had Syracuse at 7-5, and that included me thinking they were going to upset Tennessee. So yeah, I think 6 is their max right now.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see how things pan out. Javon, thanks so much for taking the time with us this morning. Enjoy Colgate and the rest of the season. You got some good road trips as well, I'm sure, ahead of you as well.
Clemson next week.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Javon.
absolutely.